Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So this is part 4 video on Angular 14 using Angular Material UI Library CRUD example. Now our main focus is to implement the update operation. Okay, so let's create a new Angular component for update operation like edit student component. Okay, okay. Now the command is like ng generate component and my component name is edit hyphen student. Okay, and I don't want any test file, so flag is like skip test. Okay, sorry, tests. So our component got created. Now let's register a route for it in our app routing module. So go to app routing module. Here let me create a path like edit student. And here I want to add a dynamic placeholder in my route like colon ID. The colon prefixed with any string is called dynamic placeholder. Means here any value can be added. Okay. So in general, we are expecting a ID value, the record item that we want to edit, right? So that ID value I want to add it in the route. Okay. Now component must be mapped to edit student component. Okay. Now let's implement our logic for invoking the API calls in our student service. Go to student service. Okay, here we have to implement two API calls. Why two API call means one is get and one is put method. Okay, so HTTP put is for updating. Why another get means this get is like get by ID value because to edit a form, so to edit a item, our form should be populated with the data, right? So that data I want to fetch from this get by ID endpoint. Okay. So first let me create an endpoint like get by ID and it will have input parameter like ID. Okay. And return this dot HTTP client dot get and it will return the student, single student. Okay. And it's observable of student, its return type. Okay, now I have to frame a dynamic URL because if you go to JSON server documentation, here you can see specific record. To get the specific record, this is the get request. Means in the URL we have to add our ID value. Okay, that means I have to frame the URL dynamically. So for that, add backticks and copy this URL. Okay, now to add ID value dynamically, I can use a dollar and flower brackets. So inside of the flower brackets, we can pass the dynamic value. Okay. So this going to return the item data that we want to edit. Okay. Now let's create one more method that is for update. Okay. So update here we will have a payload just like create. Okay. That is of type student and it will return the updated student data. Okay. Now I can write return this dot http client dot put. So put for http put request for update. Okay, student. Okay, here we have to do one more thing. If you go to the JSON server, here you can see for put we have to pass the ID value. Okay, so what I will do, I will copy this URL here, and as a second parameter, my payload will be sent. Okay, and here inside of the payload, I will have a ID value. Okay. So that is my put request. Now go to our edit component. For now, I can copy lot of code from my add component. Okay, first let's go to add component.html. Okay, copy this entire form. Okay, so and go to edit component.html. paste it over here. And the changes are here like you can change the heading, update student details, okay. And here there is a method create, right? So for now, let's remove this click event, okay. And here it is expecting the student form, okay. So go to add component.ts file and copy this entire student form and go to edit component.ts file and add it here. Okay, now edit component, import the namespace. Now edit component.html, errors are gone. And here change the button name like update. Form must be populated with the edit record, right? So for that we have to invoke the get by ID API call. So for that what I can do, go to edit component.ts file. So how we can get the ID? It is available in the URL. So first we have to read the ID value from the URL. Okay. For that, let me inject a service like private route activated route. Okay. That loads from the Angular router library. Okay. So using this activated route in the ng on it, I am trying to read the data. Okay. This dot route dot param map, okay, dot subscribe. This is going to give all the dynamic placeholder values from the URL, okay. So input like params. Now here what I will do, where id equal to, okay, I am trying to read the id value, okay. So number, by default the value in the URL will be the string, so I am reading as a number. So params dot get, and here we have to specify the dynamic placeholder name. So what is my dynamic placeholder name? Go to app routing module ID. So copy this placeholder name and get back to edit component and add it here. Okay, now I got the ID value. Now let me create a method here like get by ID. Okay, it inputs ID, and let's inject our student service to invoke the API call. Okay. Okay, now this dot student service dot, sorry, student service dot get by ID and pass the ID value and subscribe to the response. Okay, and that response I can directly assign to my form. This dot form, student form equal to data. Okay, now I have to invoke this get by ID here. Okay, get by ID equal to ID. Okay. Now let's check whether we are able to populate our edit form or not. Okay. So to edit any record, I have to add a edit button, right? So here in the table, I'm going to add a new column where I can add the edit icon. Okay. So for that, let's go to all components.ts file first. First, I want to add a new column, right? So register the column name here like actions. Okay. Now go to all components.html file. Okay. Now let's duplicate one of the column container. Okay. And I will name it like action. Okay. Here inside of the TD, we want to render the I want to render a anchor link with material icon UI. Okay, on clicking that link, we have to navigate to our edit form. Okay, so for that first let's render, add the anchor tag. Okay, and here I can specify the dynamic route value for that. Since I am using dynamic route, right? Dynamically generated URL, right? So use brackets here. If you recall, here on the top, we are directly added. It is a normal string, you no need to specify the square brackets. If it is a dynamic string for the attribute, then we have to define the in the square bracket. So router link, okay. and here I can specify like a array, and first initially the actual path, that is edit hyphen student, okay, and remaining dynamic values I can pass as a second parameter. Okay, here we can access the ID from the element, right? So element dot ID. So on rendering, it will be rendered as slash edit hyphen student slash ID value. Okay. Now here I want to display the icon. So for that, go to material website and check for the icon. So here is the icon. So first let's import the module in the app module. Okay. So copy the module, app module, and mat icon module. Okay. Now go to our all components.html file. Okay. Now here let's add the material icon. So if you see here, here is one home button is there, right? So copy the mat icon. Okay. And I want edit, right? So instead of home, I can change it like edit. Okay. If I check, I should see the edit button. Okay. See, we are getting the edit button, right? Now, if I click on the one of the button, I should navigate to my edit form. So let's try. See, the ID value is coming in the URL. And if I check the network calls, okay, let's go back to home page again. Okay. And now click on edit button and check the network calls. See, get by ID, API call invoking, and the data is populating. Okay, now our form is a little bit not good, right? So go to add component.css file, copy these classes styles and go to edit component.css file, add it over here. Okay, and if we check, now our form is little better. Now we have to work on this update button. Okay, so for that, what I can do, I have to create a class method in my edit component.ts file. Okay, I will create like update. Okay, update, and I must call my this student service dot update method. To that update method, I can pass my form data. Okay, I'm successful. I want to redirect back to our home page. For that, we have to inject the router service. Okay, so private router, so router that loads from the Angular router. Okay, now I can use that this dot router dot navigate. Okay, and open square brackets and specify the path. And now register this update method with our button click, update button click. So go to edit component.html file and register the click event. Okay, let's test it. Okay, let's click on the edit button and now let me change the age to 15. Okay, now click on the update. See, now age got updated and you can see here our update API call. See, put request and the payload. That means we are successfully updated the record. Next, we are going to focus on the delete operation. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video delivered some useful content to you all. If you like the video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel as well as by liking the video. Soon we are going to meet with new video. Until then, signing off.